p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service.
Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Brandy, and I'm here with Matthew. We invite you to listen to our broadcast both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.
I guess I'm up first, I guess. Okay. Well, I have a braille display, so I've just gotten it recently, so I might I might have trouble with something or read something strange, so I'll do my best. Starting in the Springfield Daily Citizen, Missouri State alum designs official FIFA World Cup poster for Kansas City matches. Her design. So we'll get to the article here about this. 1 second here. Let me get there. Okay. And it's by, let's see, Julian. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that anyway. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just read the article. If I can find it here. Just a second. Okay. Okay. let me get straight at her. Oh, it's a caption. I'm not going to worry about the caption. Okay. Trying to find it here. Okay. So many pictures, just a second. Okay, yeah, there it is. That's what I need right there. All right. Trying to find it here. Oh, come on. All right, here it is, I think. Yeah. I think it's when J.D. Arnell was in her preschool, her mom knew J.D. was destined to be an artist. In Sunday school, everyone would compliment her that her daughter drew perfect circles. Arnett hasn't lost her touch for perfect circles. In fact, that skill and creative passion helped her score big time when she won the FIFA World Cup 26 Kansas City host city poster design contest. Kansas City is hosting 6 World Cup matches this summer and had a poster design contest to promote the event. Arnett's piece, Woven Together, was selected from more than 100 entries and earned a $100,000 prize. Her work is plastered on official FIFA merchandise and ads to promote one of the biggest sporting events in the world. Hang on, let me get past this. Just a second. Okay, I think. Okay, yeah. It is being used in purchase and advertisements to promote the World Cup in Kansas City. Yeah, okay, that's there. Okay. As a young designer, she's 25. The thought of entering was exciting and also intimidating. I was like, wow, this feels really big. I'd kick myself if I didn't at least try. So I am glad I did, she said. Arnett is a Climbie native who moved to Springfield to study design and illustration at Missouri State University. In Springfield, she did some of the menu designs for big whiskeys. She interned at Great Design Company and was a part-time designer for the Standard MSU student newspaper. Those in the rock climbing circles may be familiar with her as she's an avid climber and did some local design work for Zenith Climbing Center. I love Springfield, Arnett said. I actually met some of my closest friends in Springfield. I found a great community in rock climbing. After graduation in 2022, she immediately moved to Kansas City for a dream job with okay, but Boulevard Brewing Company, designing beer labels. He's created labels for Tropical Tank 7, Easy Orange, the Space Camper series, Quick Fountain, Fizzy, and some other drinks. Another caption. Okay. She landed a job at Boulevard Brewing Company in Kansas City after graduating from Missouri State University. Okay, what's this? Good grief. Okay. Also designed the Boulevard Beer Garden at Coffin Stadium, home of the KC Royals. She was able to cut the ribbon at its grand opening. This brew is themed after the Space Camper series. As of February 20, hang on. As of February 21st, she can add 81 to her list of accomplishments. Arnett received AWI from the Kansas City American Advertising Award for a beer that is being released this spring. The Addy are considered the advertising industry's most prestigious award and recognized innovative work in advertising, marketing, and design. Okay, I think that will do for the moment.
This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Trump taps Greene County Sheriff as U.S. Marshal for Missouri Western District by Susan Zuch with the Springfield News-Leader. Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott has been nominated by the President to serve as a U.S. Marshal, according to a news release. President Donald Trump nominated Arnott to serve a 4-year term as the United States Marshal for the Western District of Missouri on the afternoon of March 9th, 2026. Arnott said that he will continue to serve as Greene County Sheriff during the Senate confirmation process. I have been incredibly blessed to serve as the Greene County Sheriff's Office and the citizens of Greene County for the past 37 plus years, Arnott said in the news release. I truly love this profession, the dedicated staff I work alongside, and the community we serve. Arnott said he will be working closely with the Greene County Commissioners to ensure a smooth transition to an appointed Greene County Sheriff and to help in preparing for an election. The Commission congratulated him in a news release on Monday night. With 17 years as the elected sheriff of one of Missouri's largest counties and decades in law enforcement, Sheriff Arnott has a deep and practical understanding of law enforcement, the Commission wrote. We have worked closely with Sheriff Arnott for many years, and in that time frame have found him to be a tremendous advocate for the safety of the citizens he serves, his deputies and employees, the Sheriff's Office, and law enforcement and public safety in general. He is effective and works tirelessly to ensure the Greene County Sheriff's Office provides high-quality services to our community. We congratulate Sheriff Arnott on this appointment. He will make a tremendous U.S. Marshal. What are U.S. Marshals? The United States Marshals are the oldest federal law enforcement agency in the nation. The Office of the United States Marshal was established in 1789 with the passage of the Judiciary Act by Congress, according to the U.S. Marshals website, and the United States Marshals Service was established in 1969 as a bureau within the Department of Justice. Marshals enforce federal laws and provide support to the federal justice system by providing for the security of federal court facilities and the safety of judges and other court personnel, apprehending criminals, exercising custody of federal prisoners, and providing for their safety, for the security and transportation to correctional facilities, executing federal court orders, seizing assets gained by illegal means, and providing for the custody, management, and disposal of forfeited assets, assuring the safety of endangered government witnesses and their families, collecting and dispersing funds. There are 94 U.S. Marshals, one for each federal judicial district, and they are appointed by the President. According to the USMS, there are about 3,892 deputy U.S. Marshals and criminal investigators, as well as more than the 1,500 administrative employees and detention law enforcement officers. After nomination, the United States Senate must confirm the appointees.
From the Springfield News-Leader, philanthropist Mary Beth O'Reilly dies. And it says, Beth O'Reilly, nurse, wife, mother of 3 sons, tenacious advocate for children, and philanthropist with a sharp mind and a soft heart, died Saturday, March 7th at her home in Florida. She was 83. Her husband, Charles O'Reilly, and sons and daughters, in-law Pat and Sharon, I believe, O'Reilly, Tim and just some family members, issued the following statement upon her passing. The family of Mary Beth O'Reilly is deeply saddened to share the news of her passing. Mary Beth was a devoted wife, mother, and friend whose kindness, strength, and compassion touched the lives of so many. She was the heart of our family, a source of unwavering love, encouragement, and guidance throughout our lives. The loss we feel is profound and deeply personal. She has left a lasting impression on all of us, including her extended family and of 9 grandchildren. In lieu of flowers, donations can be made the Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks, with its abbreviation. Funeral service are set for March 28th at 10:30 a.m. at Elizabeth Anacleton Cemetery, or a Catholic Church, 2000 West Republic Road. I think you need to have a vision, you need to have a plan, you need to work hard. Mary Beth said, told the interviewer of the Springfield Business Journal, I think that you have to be, you have to be able to put all those things into action if you really want to do something. Mary Beth wanted to do something, and she accomplished most of what she set out her mind to do. She is perhaps best known as the founder of the Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks, CBFO, but she was active in many other civil organizations and nonprofit, including serving as chair of the Foundation of the Ozarks and on the board of the Missouri Health Foundation. Among many, she was named the 2025 Springfield, by the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce. It came as a quick surprise, as she believed the award that night was going to her close friend, Virginia Fry, who passed away in 2018. Okay, that'll do for that one, I think.
This is in the Springfield News-Leader. Pedestrian dies after Saturday car crash in West Springfield by Marta Miez, Springfield News-Leader. A 39-year-old man has died after being hit by a car while crossing Sunshine Street on the evening of Saturday, March 7th. Springfield Police Department responded to a vehicle crash involving a pedestrian at Sunshine Street and Zimmer Road in West Springfield at 9:34 p.m. Saturday, according to an SPD news release. Ruth Myers, 79, was driving a 2008 Dodge Grand Caravan eastbound on Sunshine when she hit Benson Mahan at Battlefield. According to the release, Mahan was crossing southbound on Sunshine outside of the crosswalk at Zimmer. Mahan was taken to the hospital for his injuries. On Sunday, March 8th, SPD was notified that he had died from his injuries. The circumstances of the crash are part of an ongoing investigation. Anyone with information should contact the SPD at 417-864-1810 or make an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers at 417-869-TIPS-8477 or online at p3tips.com. This is the fourth traffic fatality in Springfield this year. Are you ready?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Come on, load. After referendum, Hotel of Terror owner wants repeal, not election. By Marta Miez, Springfield News-Leader. Key point: Springfield City Council must decide whether to repeal its eminent domain decision for the Hotel of Terror or let voters decide. The city and hotel owner, Sterling Mathis, are in a dispute over compensation, with the city offering $2 million and Mathis asking for $3.5 million. Negotiations stalled over costs related to moving the attraction and complying with updated city fire codes for an expanded new location. With a referendum petition containing at least 1,499 signatures certified, Springfield City Council will have to decide whether to repeal its decision to seize the Hotel of Terror through eminent domain or send the question to voters. Hotel of Terror owner Sterling Mathis asked Council at its meeting Monday, March 9th, to opt for repeal and find common ground instead of spending taxpayer money on an election. While a public hearing on the matter was held Monday night, Council is not expected to vote until its next meeting, March 23rd. The property at 334 North Main Avenue was subject to eminent domain once before in 2023, but that process also was stopped after a referendum petition prompted Council to repeal the ordinance. The city initiated the eminent domain process again as the Main Avenue bridge adjacent to the Hotel of Terror has continued to deteriorate and negotiation talks have continued with little progress. Any further degradation in bridge conditions will require it to be closed per Missouri Department of Transportation inspections and national guidelines. And there's a picture of the front of the Hotel of Terror building. It says Hotel of Terror at 334 North Main Avenue on Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023 is when that picture was taken. After returning to the negotiation table in 2023, the city agreed to pay Mathis $2 million, but Director of Public Works Nan Smith said March 9th the owner did not sign that offer despite requesting it earlier. Mathis said it was because after a verbal agreement, the city increased code requirements for the Hotel of Terror to move into the backside of Dungeons of Doom at 701 West Wall Street, which is also owned by Mathis. Now, in order to cover the costs of recreating the Hotel of Terror experience at Dungeons of Doom and comply with the city's code requirements, Mathis is asking for $3.5 million. So far, the city has been unwilling to budge above the $2 million offer. Expanded footprint at crux of additional requirements. Martin Google, city's director of building development services, told the News-Leader the city had adopted a new fire safety code since the building at 701 West Wall Street was erected. When the agreement for $2 million was made, it was before Mathis provided a site plan that also included additions to the building. Google said that the additions to the building itself were the reason the more stringent fire safety requirements were added. He noted before that the city believed it would be a simple move of current Hotel of Terror operations into the Dungeons of Doom building. There's a picture of a blueprint. This is the site plan provided by Hotel of Terror owner Sterling Mathis to the city in October 2025 lays out plans for relocating the haunted attraction to 701 West Wall Street. The site plan provided to the News-Leader, dated October 2025, includes utilizing new space in the adjacent tower that could include tenant space, though Mathis noted in his comments that was not finalized, and increased a footprint for both Hotel of Terror and Dungeons of Doom, including a fourth floor of the existing Wall Street structure. According to the city's notes on the site plan, and as confirmed by Mathis Monday night, the site plan would roughly double the current Hotel of Terror footprint and increase the size of Dungeons of Doom by almost 2,800 square feet. Mathis said the increase in the size is needed in order to recreate the Hotel of Terror experience in the new spot, particularly in order to accommodate the city's additional requests for code compliance. In his March 9th comments, he also said he would not add the space, such as a fourth floor, if additional code restrictions would make it more complex. There's another site plan provided by Hotel of Terror Sterling Mathis and lays out plans for relocating the attraction to the Dungeons of Doom property. City staff notes include indications of additions to the building and footprint beyond current operations. While the site plan was dated October 2025, more than a year after the $2 million deal fell through, Google confirmed to the News-Leader that Mathis had shared verbal plans for additions and expanded space over the course of months. He said the frequent changes, which always included expansion, made it more difficult for staff to determine exact code requirements. Google said those requirements include adjustments for ADA compliance, although the city's purview of ADA requirements for amusement attractions only concerns entrances and exits and access to restrooms. Business operators may need to make their own additional adjustments to be in compliance with federal accessibility laws and avoid lawsuits, he said. Mathis emphasized that he was not opposed to moving, but he needed to be able to do so to retain his 47-year family business. He also said he believes the concerns of the Main Avenue Bridge could be addressed without impacting the Hotel of Terror, though Smith testified that that was not feasible without damaging the building and that the bridge had to be expanded to mitigate future flooding. Asked by Councilman Brandon Jensen if he would publicly commit to accepting the $3.5 million if the city was to offer it, Mathis indicated he would, though he shared concerns about future flooding due to the city daylighting Jordan Creek. The Hotel of Terror has been a part of the city's ongoing project downtown to bring Jordan Creek back to a natural state above ground. Part of the project's goals is to mitigate flooding. And there's a picture of Melissa and Sterling Mathis holding up the signatures collected to a challenge eminent domain of their Hotel of Terror property outside of the Bush Municipal Building on Friday, January 9th, 2026. Mathis' most recent appraisal for both the building and the business placed the price tag at nearly $1.3 million. He stated March 9th that specialty building and decades of investment at the business on Main Avenue is costly to recreate elsewhere. I stand here not to obstruct progress, but to ask for fairness, Mathis said. The renewed Jordan Creek project is important. The Riverwalk would be great, but not at the cost of taking my family's livelihood in almost a half a century of making memories for generations. When council voted to initiate eminent domain in December, the vote was unanimous and no one commented on the matter ahead of the vote. How does eminent domain work? If the matter ever gets to eminent domain proceedings, a just compensation price would be determined by a neutral, court-appointed commission. The city would be required to pay both for the building itself on Main and relocation and reestablishment costs. In the case of one of the parties disagrees with the price, they could appeal and go to a jury trial. Smith said the city plans to have a final design for the replacement bridge completed this spring. It is expected to include 2 lanes of vehicular traffic, a 2-lane bicycle track, and an ADA-compliant sidewalks, while reducing flooding of Jordan Creek in downtown Springfield. He said the new bridge would be funded using $4.5 million in federal grant funds, combined with $3 million in city funds. While Mathis urged council members to opt for appeal instead of an election as a way to avoid spending more taxpayer money, in response to Councilman Craig Hosmer's questions, Smith noted the acquisition of the property would also come from tax money, and the city is liable for the Main Avenue Bridge in the event of damages. If council votes to send the question of eminent domain to voters, it would appear on the primary election ballot in August. Marta Miez covers local government at the News-Leader. Have feedback, tips, or story ideas? Contact her at mmieze@newsleader.com.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, judge denies change of venue in 2025 fatal crash that killed off-duty Christian County deputy and wife. The designate's lawyers failed to show that media coverage would prevent the possibility of a fair and impartial jury in Christian County, says Judge. And it says Michael Adams and his wife Ashley were killed June 30th in an off-duty traffic crash. Past the video here. Hold on. Okay. There's a video. I'm trying to get past all of the stuff around the video, and they don't make that very easy to do here on a braille display. So many links about it. Okay. Okay, I think I found it. Christian County Circuit Judge Laura Johnson on Wednesday, March 4th, denied a request for a change of venue for defendant Garrett Grimm, Cleaver, 41, who faces charges of murder in the second degree. Involving the June 30th deaths of Michael E. Adams and off-duty Christian County deputy and his wife, Ashley Adams. Johnson said a date of June 3rd, 2027 for a jury trial. Cleaver is in the Christian County jail. March 3rd column in the Springfield Daily Citizen reported the Cleaver was involved in an October 9th, 2009 fatal crash in Kansas City, in which a 51-year-old man from New Jersey was killed. The column detailed Cleaver's extensive criminal history, which included multiple instances where he fled from law enforcement at a high rate of speed. Cleaver allegedly was fleeing from a Christian County deputy on the night he was killed. The vehicle, or hang on, struck the vehicle with Deputy Adams, who was off duty near his Highlandville home. We do not require the jury, but okay, here we go. Okay, we don't require that jurors be ignorant of the facts and issues, according to online court document. Judge Johnson cited prior rules by higher courts that states that ultimately factor in that the change of venue request is whether or not the judge believes a fair and impartial jury can be found in a county where the alleged crime occurred. In this case, Christian County, Johnson wrote, in assessing the impact of potentially prejudicial publicity on prospective jurors. The crucial question is not whether the jury remember the case, but whether they have such fixed opinions regarding the case that they could not impartially determine the guilt or innocence of defendants. She quoted from a prior court ruling we do not require the jurors to be ignorant of the facts and issues reported by the media. The Supreme Court noted in these days of swift, widespread, diverse methods of communication, an important case can be expected to arouse the interest of the public. And, okay, and scarcely any, okay, help people. That's all that there.
This is from the Springfield Business Journal. MSU dedicates Animal Education Center. Spaces to foster hands-on learning and innovation in agricultural education were dedicated March 7th as part of a volunteer day at Missouri State University's William H. Dark College of Education. MSU officials and supporters gathered to complete service projects aimed at enhancing the Dark Agricultural Center. At the start of the day, the completion of the Small Animal Education Center and the Ag Innovation Hub were dedicated during a ceremony. Agriculture remains a cornerstone of Missouri's economy, said Melissa Bledsoe, Dean of the Dark College of Agriculture, in a news release. Through strategic investments in facilities, experiential learning, and industry collaboration, the Dark College of Agriculture is preparing students to lead and innovate in a rapidly evolving field. Projects were paid for by a mix of private donations and state funding. In late 2019, the Dark Family Foundation announced an initial gift of $6.5 million to build an agriculture-focused magnet program and construct the Small Animal Education Center. The Ag Academy, a partnership with Springfield Public Schools, opened in 2022. The Small Animal Education Center has been available for student use since late 2023. It is used to study animal care, nutrition, physiology, and to prepare students interested in veterinary science. MSU officials said the 14,000 square foot center includes teaching laboratories, animal holding and care areas, grooming and washing stations, classroom space, and areas for hands-on instruction in small animal management and health. The Ag Innovation Hub, used by students since late 2025, provides space for applied research, student projects, and industry management.
That was the first article you read is the one I had next. Let me go get
Oh,
the next one. But I need to read the same article again. One quick second here, see if I can find it. Still in the Citizen, Daily Citizen still.
okay.
Let me go try to find the next one. Okay, let's see. 1 second, everybody. I think I found it, maybe. I think I found it. Maybe. Yeah, go ahead and read another one just to make sure I can find it here.
Okay. No problem. Take me just a sec. This is from the 417 magazine. It says family-friendly waterfalls to explore in the Ozarks. Rocky Falls. It doesn't get much easier than Rocky Falls for a family-friendly, all-ages visit to a scenic waterfall about 140 miles east of Springfield near Winona. All you have to do is park, walk a short path, and enjoy. Bring a picnic lunch and stay for a while. You'll find grills, picnic tables, and restrooms. With little foliage in March, the reddish hue of the waterfall's large boulders, once molten rock that flowed to the surface about 1.5 billion years ago, really stands out. The Rocky Falls pool becomes a popular swimming hole each summer, but the waterfall flows best during the wet spring season. Day trip bonus. Add a stop at Alley Mill in Eminence or Falling Spring Mill near Winona. Neither scenic area requires a hike, or explore Echo Bluff State Park about 40 minutes from Rocky Falls. And there's Tanyard Creek Falls. This waterfall in Bella Vista, Arkansas, is a hit for all ages. That's because viewing the waterfall is only one reason to explore the Tanyard Creek Nature Trail, 115 miles southwest of Springfield. While the trail is located in an urban setting with easy parking, you can see homes and a golf course from various sections. It feels remote with plenty of scenic wilderness elements. Those include bluffs, rock formations, a pretty creek, and of course the centerpiece waterfall. There's even a swinging suspension bridge kids love to cross. Day trip bonus. Visit Pinion Creek Falls, about 5 minutes from Tanyard Creek on Pinion Drive near Lake Ann. No hike, just park and look. Or stop at Grand Falls and Joplin along the way.
I've got it now.
Okay.
From Springfield Daily Citizen, council considers suspending reviewing recently approved changes to driveway code citing staff ordinance suspending the code revisions approved by council on January 21st could hinder the implementation of the new land development code. And I'll get down to the article. Okay, here it is, I think. Springfield City Council is now considering suspending those changes and referring to them to committee for further review. The City Council on January 12th approved revisions to Chapter 98 of Springfield's Code of Ordinances, implementing a new set of criteria for city staff to consider when determining whether to allow access to public streets and a new process for property owners to appeal driveway permits that have been denied by city staff. Under the new driveway code, only certain cases are eligible to be appealed to the Planning and Zoning Commission, leaving city staff with final say on permits for driveways near roads with high traffic volumes. Okay. While approved by the City Council, the code revisions are effective until Council adopts a new zoning map, which is expected to occur in April. The new map will help facilitate the implementing of the forward SGF comprehensive plan by activating the new development code housed in Chapter 36 of the City Code, which was approved by Council last year. The code revisions approved by Council are intended to improve public safety and traffic flow, to reduce potential conflict points, and protect the city's investment in street infrastructure while preventing a framework for managing driveways, access points, and okay. That's enough of that, I think.
This is in the Springfield News-Leader. Missouri budget proposal slashes funding for some public universities by Rudy Keller, Missouri Independent. Key points. A Missouri House Committee is considering a plan to reallocate state funding for colleges based on student enrollment. The proposal would shift hundreds of millions of dollars, creating significant budget increases for some schools and major cuts for others. Some lawmakers expressed concern that the drastic funding changes could force certain universities to close. A push to shift hundreds of millions of dollars among Missouri state colleges and universities ran into bipartisan skepticism Monday, March 9th, during a hearing of the House Budget Committee. State Representative Dirk Deaton, chairman of the House Budget Committee, said he wants to overhaul state support for community colleges and universities by reallocating funding based on the number of full-time students on each campus. Current funding is too tied to past appropriations, he said, and gives the 10 four-year universities and 12 community colleges wildly varying amounts for each student educated. The money follows the student. It is really as simple as that, said Deaton, a Republican from Seneca. State Representative Ed Lewis, a Moberly Republican, was among members skeptical about the massive reallocation. Truman State University in Kirksville would lose more than half of its funding under Deaton's plan. That would be a tremendous hit to that university and would probably cause that university to close within 2 years, said Lewis, who is a candidate for state senate in the district that includes Kirksville. Deaton led the committee through a discussion March 9th of his proposed changes to appropriations for state government operations in the coming year. The committee will meet again on Wednesday, March 11th, for further changes before sending the 12 spending bills to the full House for debate. Budget figures compiled by the Independent show the proposals Deaton discussed March 9th would use $15.4 billion of general revenue, about $420 million less than Governor Mike Keogh requested in January. All spending on operations, including federal funds and earmarked taxes, would be $50.6 billion, or about $1.1 $1.4 billion less than requested by Kehoe. Some of the money cut from operations will be shifted to the capital construction budget. Deaton said his spending plan overall uses about $300 million less general revenue than the $16.2 billion total sought by Kehoe. He said he will unveil his proposals for building construction and major renovations after lawmakers return from next week's legislative spring break. The budget still leaves a huge gap between anticipated revenue and proposed spending. For the coming year, that gap of about $2.6 billion would be covered by accumulated surpluses. One way Deaton saves general revenue is by tapping other funds that can be spent instead of general revenue. He's using a constitutional directive to take $64.7 million from the Blind Pension Fund for public schools and taking interest earned since lawmakers set aside $1.6 billion for highway projects on Interstate 70 and Interstate 44, about $160 million total. Other significant items in Deaton's budget proposal include reversing Kehoe's proposed cuts to service for people with developmental disabilities. Kehoe wanted to cut $6.2 million in state spending for a program allowing individuals with disabilities or their families to hire and train specialized care staff, plus $21.9 million in general revenue funding from structured group day programs, with lost federal funding bringing the total to $80.7 million, barring the state from paying child care providers based on enrollment and sending checks at the beginning of each month. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education was preparing to launch those changes from paying based on attendance and paying at the end of the month in May. Keeping a $250,000 allocation split between general revenue and federal welfare funds for a grant to the 57 Foundation, set up in late 2024 to educate the public on the history of Governor Mike Parsons' life and administration. Deaton's proposals for higher education funding shift about $250 million among four-year universities and $26 million among two-year community colleges. Deaton said he's not spending any more than Kehoe requested, but by changing the method for its distribution, he makes big winners and losers within that limit. The state's largest institution, the four-campus University of Missouri system, would receive $542.2 million, up from the $521 million in Kehoe's budget. The second largest, Missouri State University, would receive $145.2 million, up from $115.7 million. Meanwhile, Truman State University would see its funding cut by more than half, to $23.8 million from $50.9 million. Harris-Stowe State University and Lincoln University, the four-year schools receiving the smallest current amounts, would each have their core funding cut by almost 40%. There is no political favoritism being shown in the funding overhaul, Deaton said. He noted that Missouri Southern State University in Joplin, near his southwest Missouri district, would see a cut. Missouri Southern's allocation would be reduced by about $6.4 million to $25.3 million. Missouri State and Ozarks Technical College in Springfield would both receive funding boosts, but State Representative Betsy Vogel of Springfield, the ranking Democrat on the Budget Committee, said she isn't satisfied the change is equitable. That makes me happy to see Missouri State getting additional investments in Ozark Technical College getting additional investments, Vogel said. But I do have significant concerns with how this will impact my students to go to other public universities and community colleges throughout the state. Some lawmakers were enthusiastic in their support of changing how higher education is funded. We have subsidized really bad decisions for a very long time, said State Representative Lewis Riggs, a Hannibal Republican. But many members were concerned that they had been asked to vote for major building projects and new programs in recent years. The schools need the money to operate those buildings and programs, they said, asking if Deaton would agree to a phased switch. Is this something that we just cut the puppy dog's tail off right away? Asked State Representative Kathy Jo Lloyd, a Carthage Republican, or snip it off a little bit at a time?
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, MSU Pro Day quarterback Jacob Clark on Mel Kemper's 2026 NFL Draft Radar. Let me get to more of that, actually. Now, 11 Bears look to impress NFL scouts at Thursday's Pro Day at Plaster Stadium. And we'll get to the article here. Okay. Let me get to. Okay, here we go. I think. Oh, nope. Come on. More of the audio player saying on. Okay, I think there we go. Okay. Missouri State will host a series of NFL scouts on Thursday at Placer Stadium in a pro day setting. The event, which is closed to the public, will feature 11 former Missouri State football players who recently exhausted their eligibility, each looking to increase their stock with speed, agility, strengthening, and position tests. Highlighting the recently departed seniors is quarterback Jacob Clark, who, widely considered the best quarterback in the program's legendary history. The NFL draft's longest standing and preeminent ESPN's Mel Kemper is aware of the hang on. What did that say? Aware of the if I put 20-pound signal caller in Kemper's February quarterback position rankings, Clark was the third QB listed on the just cited position outside of Kemper's top 10. The 7-round 257-player NFL draft takes place April 25th in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with subsequent undrafted free agent rookie signings. Talks up Missouri State go 7-6 in 2025 and reach the Xbox Bowl in the program's first year as a football bowl submitted member, and his 28 starts at MSU. Clark passed for 881 yards, 64 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, and completed 67 of his throws, reaching several MSU passing records. In the process, he was a two-time Manning Awards star of his big winner of his senior season. That's some more news. Hang on, there's more to the article. Just a second. Keep past the newsletter sign up. Okay. He led the Bears to an 8-4 mark and number 23 national ranking in the final 2004 football championship subdivision coaches poll. The bets on award final steering. Run popularly, Clark, a 4-star recruit for the Dallas. Yeah. What? Hang on. Okay. That's enough of that article, I believe. We'll go on. I'm having trouble finding the rest of it. So.
That's all right. This is the Springfield News-Leader. Greene County jury convicts man of arson in 2024 mobile home fire by Marta Miez, Springfield News-Leader. After a 3-day jury trial, a man was found guilty Thursday, March 5th, of setting fire to an occupied mobile home in Greene County in 2024. After deliberating for just under 90 minutes, the Greene County jury found Jose Morales, 43, guilty of arson in the first degree, but not guilty of tampering with motor vehicle, according to a news release from the Greene County Prosecutor's Office. The case dates back to October 15, 2024, when Battlefield Fire Department responded to a mobile home fire in Brookline. According to the release, the property owner had asked Morales, who had been living at the residence, to leave due to disruptive behavior and excessive drinking. When the fire broke out, starting in Morales' room, multiple occupants were asleep inside the home. The mobile home was a total loss. There's a picture of a mobile home, mostly blackened and missing because of the fire. It says capture of the damage to the mobile home in Brookline after a fire on October 15th, 2024. Jose Morales was found guilty to have set the fire while people were asleep inside. Although Morales had fled the scene, he was apprehended within 30 minutes by an officer with the Ozarks Police Department who stopped the man who was driving erratically. A preliminary breath test showed Morales' blood alcohol content at 0.148%, according to the release, nearly double the legal threshold of 0.08%. A sentencing is scheduled for May 27th at 1:30 p.m. in front of Greene County Circuit Judge Katie Greenwade. First-degree arson is a Class B felony that carries a sentence of 5 to 15 years in prison with no parole eligibility until 85% of the sentence is served, according to the release. Morales has remained in Greene County, held at no bond.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, this looks really strange, but I'll read it as it. C6.5 Championship, Kickapoo, Ford, win, and Thompson come up big in win over rival. Nick's fourth-ranked Chiefs avenged last year's championship loss to Eagles and advanced to state quarterfinals. Let's see here. Again, with these other links that we don't want. Okay, I think I'm okay. A three-pointer over Nick's defender on Tuesday, February 10th. 2020. Oh, that's in. Okay, that's a caption. Just a second. These video links. I'm trying to get around here. Okay, I think I've okay. The ending of Saturday's Class 6 District 5 Championship game was void of the Oh, yes, okay. Buzzer beating drama, last year's Kickapoo-Nixa matchup. That was fine with the Chiefs. Wilburn score a team high 17 points, including an alley-oop early in the game, and a one-handed dunk in the final minutes as Kickapoo avenged last year's season-ending loss to Nixa with a 64-59 win at Hall of Fame court. Kickapoo 24-25 advances on March 14th to quarterfinal at Joplin High School against top-ranked Rockhurst. 26-1 it looks like, if I'm reading that correctly. Senior forward Brock Thompson neutralized Eagles on the glass and added 14 points. So offset guard Reese Emery knocked down a trio of three-pointers in the second quarter to put fourth-ranked Kickapoo ahead for good after Nixa clawed back from a slow start to grab a short-lived lead. Nixa guard Randy Flint scored a game-winning 19 points for the Eagles. What is that? Game high, sorry. 19 points for Nixa. 23-6. I think that, yeah, that's the end of that article.
This is in the Springfield News-Leader. Missouri bill targeting fatherlessness epidemic gets bipartisan support by Anna Spoer in the Missouri Independent. Key points. A Missouri bill aims to create the Missouri Fathership Project to support fathers in reestablishing relationships with their children. The project would fund positions at nonprofits to help fathers navigate the court system, job applications, and other challenges. The bill passed in the Missouri House and now moves to the state Senate for consideration. When Mark Ludwig lost shared custody of his son more than a decade ago, his life fell apart. The devastation of losing my son, who was my sole purpose in life. I couldn't function, Ludwig, who lives in the St. Louis area, told the Missouri House Children and Families Committee in late January. I lost everything from the point where I went from being a pretty decent middle-class dad to where I was eating food out of dumpsters at the Aldi. I didn't know where to turn. Now Ludwig advocates for fathers to be treated equally in the court system. He also drives for Uber in St. Louis, where he chats up other dads, many of whom, he said, share stories of being raised without a father present. You've got some dads who've become disengaged because they feel undervalued, Ludwig said. They feel like they're unappreciated. They feel pushed out, like their role isn't important, so why even try? Ludwig hopes legislation filed by State Representative Jamie Gregg, an Ozark Republican, can help both uplift and prepare more dads who find themselves unsure how to navigate fatherhood. As he stood before his House colleagues Monday, March 2nd, Gregg listed off example after example of statistics faced by children raised without a father. Higher levels of depression, homelessness, substance use, teen pregnancy, incarceration, suicide. It is heartbreaking. It is devastating, Gregg said. It's an epidemic. Gregg's bill would create the Missouri Fathership Project within Missouri's Department of Social Services. It would help fund positions at statewide nonprofits and community organizations to support dads who want to reestablish and strengthen relationships with their children. These professionals would help fathers navigate the court system, job applications, or the foster system, for example, so they can be more present fathers. This will enable community organizations, nonprofits around the state to bind together and reach out and help those fathers who want to be fathers, but just have too many roadblocks in the way, Gregg said. The House passed the bill on a 141-4 vote Monday night. It now heads to the state Senate. Tim McConville, the director of strategic engagement with the Man Up and Go, a Christian-based nonprofit that aims to end fatherlessness around the world, is already acting in a pseudo role. McConville, who is based out of Missouri and testified in support of the bill in January, said he often gets requests from the Children's Division asking if he can help out fathers navigating relationships with their children in the foster care system. This might mean helping them keep track of court dates, find secure housing, or work through common parenting dilemmas. He also helps fathers connect with resources after they're reunited with their kids, as in the case with one of his current clients. He's a single dad taking care of his 2 kids, McConville said. That's when it gets hard, let's be honest. While the nonprofit's Fatherhood Initiative in Florida, where similar legislation was first passed in 2022, has 26 people on staff, McConville said in Missouri he's the only one doing the work locally. This legislation would allow the organization to expand how many fathers it can help by hiring more staff. A specialist hired through this program might be assigned to help a father who is struggling to comply with a court-ordered case plan, for example. The legislation makes economic sense, and it can prevent children who have access to a safe home from being traumatized by family separation, said State Representative Rachel Prouty, a Democrat from Ferguson. And it helps the whole family. To be pro-father isn't to be anti-mother, Prouty said Monday on the House floor. It's very rare that we give some kind of dedicated attention to males or men who are out there trying to be a healthy part, not just present. An amendment introduced by State Representative David Dolan, a Republican of Sikeston, was added to the bill before it passed out of the House. This amendment would allow any fathers participating in the project who are also complying with court orders and who make regular child support payments to apply for licenses they may have previously lost, particularly if they were recently incarcerated. This includes limited driver's licenses, hunting and fishing licenses, and professional and occupational licenses. Dolan, a former circuit judge, said fathers often came before his court for non-payment of child support. They would look at me and say, I'm doing the best I can, but how do you expect me to pay this support if I can't get a job or if I can't get to a job, Dolan said. State Representative Bryant Wolfen of St. Genevieve was among the 4 Republicans to vote against the bill March 2nd. I'm not entirely sure I'm comfortable with the government trying to mold society into being better people, Wolfen told Gregg during House debate. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what this bill is trying to do.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, Ozarks Tech to consider new student fees, tuition increases for 2026-27. College officials expect flat funding from the state this year. Ozarks Technical Community College students will face a tuition increase for credit hours and student fees next year, pending approval from the Board of Trustees. The board will consider a package of increases ranging from $4 to $7 per credit hour, depending on a class tier according to meeting documentations. Board members will also consider increasing all existing student fees by $1 per credit hour, increasing a registration fee to $52 and creating 2 new fees. The board is scheduled to meet at 10:30 a.m. Wednesday, March 11th in the college's information commons. Okay. Students will pay 2 new fees if the board approves a student engagement fee of $1 per credit hour and a $15 fee for new students taking orientation courses. Student fees account for the largest portion of the college's income. Last June, the college budget receiving about $51.8 million in tuition and fees, accounting for about 47% of its revenues. The board is expected to approve the budget for the 2026-27 school year during its June meeting. The proposed increases previously previous years. Last year saw increases of $5 to $6 per credit hour, and 2024 saw an overall 3% increase. The increases are needed in light of no additional expected funding from the state, according to provided by the board members. Governor Mike Kehoe has proposed a budget that keeps core funding for higher education flat as he pushes for the elimination of the state income tax. Earlier this year, Chancellor Hal Hagen or something said that the flat funding was considered when he and Missouri State University leaders had been bracing for cuts. Ozarks Tech arranges its classes in 3 tiers. Most classes start at tier number 1, and the other classes escalate to either number 2 or number 3 based on the equipment, supplies, certification needed. Their number 2 classes include almost all of the college's construction and engineering programs, while tier number 3 including almost all of its health related specialty courses. Under the proposed increases, students who live within the college's district would pay $140 per credit hour for tier 1 and $153 I think for tier 2, and like 100, what is that, 591 I think, depending on the class tier. Fees for out of district, out of state, and international students would also see increases of about 6 to 8, I think, per credit hour. The district includes 16 counties in southwest Missouri. Of those counties, only all Greene County taxpayers pay a property tax for the college. The taxing district extends to some property owners in Christian County, Polk, Dade, Lawrence, Stone, and Taney counties. In addition, fees for some programs will also either increase or decrease depending on the program. If the board approves, these programs fees are paid regardless of how many credit hours are taken. The new fees reflect a recently completed analysis of program fees against actual costs according to the documentation. Other meeting business, the board will consider accessing the construction bid to add about 200 parking spaces. The new lot would be an extension of Lot O, located at Pythia Street and Hamilton Avenue on the campus northeastern border. The project calls for extending the lot eastward all the way to National Avenue. 4 houses on the property would be left alone. The current parking lot was completed in, what the heck is that? Some very large amount of money I don't feel like trying to read because it looks weird, unfortunately, to my braille display. Let me try to find where I was again. Where did it go? I've lost it. What happened to my thing? Oh, what is, hang on just a second. I've hit something weird. Just a moment. Just a sec. Oh, I know where I want to be. Just 1 second here. I think that'll have to do for that article. I'll try to get back to where I need to be.
Okay. This is in the Springfield News-Leader. Missouri lawmakers advance A through F school grading bill by Annalise Hanshaw with the Missouri Independent. Key points. Missouri lawmakers are advancing a bill to grade public schools on an A through F scale, prompted by an executive order from Governor Mike Kehoe. The House passed its version of the bill, though some representatives worry the grades could stigmatize underperforming schools. The new grading system and a separate pilot for a new state assessment both face potential funding challenges due to declining state revenue. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe's request to grade public schools on an A through F scale is pushing House lawmakers to approve legislation some think isn't quite ready. With approval and dissent on both sides of the aisle, the House voted a bill to create a new school accountability system through the Senate to the Senate 96 to 53 Thursday, despite concerns the letter grades could be a scarlet letter for underperforming schools. Will this labeling system actually improve schools, or will it mostly brand communities, destabilize staffing, and incentivize gaming rather than learning? Asked State Representative Kim Smith, a Democrat from Florissant, during House debate Tuesday morning, March 3rd. She said the key metrics that determine the grade, performance, and growth are volatile. The label itself can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, she said. The bill doubles down on high-stakes metrics that are known to be unstable. The bill's sponsor, State Representative, Dane Deal, a Republican from Butler, told lawmakers that a performance-based school report card with A through F grades is inevitable. The details, though, are negotiable. The governor's executive order, it is going to happen either way, he said. I think we tried to make that process a little better for school districts. Kehoe's order directs the state's education department to draw up a plan for the report cards and present it to the State Board of Education. The board could reject the idea, but a board primarily new members appointed by Kehoe, lawmakers have accepted the system as fate. State Representative Ed Lewis, a Republican from Moberly and a chair of the House's Education Committee, told the committee in January that he prioritized the bill as a way to give lawmakers influence over the final outcome. He is happy with the edits the committee made, which gives the Education Department more leeway to determine grade thresholds and removes a provision that would raise expectations once 65% of schools achieve A or B grades. The House also approved an amendment March 3rd that would grade schools' environment. This would be based on the rates of student suspension, seclusion, and restraint incident rates, and satisfaction surveys given to students, parents, and teachers. The Senate's vision, which passed out of its Education Committee last week, does not include those changes. I think the House bill is the best product we have in the Capitol right now, Lewis said. I'm not saying it's complete, but it is the best we have right now. The changes have softened some skeptics of the legislation, like State Rep Brad Pollitt. Pollitt, a Sedalia Republican, said he didn't support the legislation for a number of years, but with the edits, he sees potential for the legislation to usher in changes to the way the state accredits public schools. The current process, he said, nobody seems to like, pointing to widespread concerns with the state's standardized test. Some of the changes are already happening quietly. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education received a grant from the federal government to develop a state assessment based on through-the-year testing, which would measure student growth throughout the school year instead of a single summative assessment. The department is poised to pilot the new test in 14 classrooms this spring, hoping to eventually offer it statewide within a few years. But the estimated startup cost of $2 million is one of the many department requests cut from the governor's proposed budget as the state grapples with declining revenue. Creating the A through F report cards is estimated to cost a similar amount, if not more, according to the state's fiscal note. The expense is largely front-loaded, going to the programming and technology support required to create the grade cards interface. When the Independent asked Kehoe's office about the fiscal note, the governor's communications director, Gabby Picard, said he would work with associated agencies to determine appropriate funding while remaining mindful of the current budget constraints and maintaining fiscal responsibility. The House's version of the legislation includes an incentive program for high-performing schools, giving bonuses to go toward teacher recruitment and retention if the legislature appropriates funding for the program. The bill originally proposed incentives of $50 to $100 per student to subsidize teacher pay. This had large fiscal implications, and Lewis surmised that it would violate a section of the state constitution prohibiting bonuses for public employees. Making the funding optional and directing it to the school's teacher recruitment and retention fund remedied those concerns. The Senate Education Committee removed the incentive program in its version of the legislation. The House's approval Thursday does not stop discussion and possible amendments. Next, the bill will go to the Senate for consideration, and if any changes are made, it will return to the House for more discussion.
Springfield Daily Citizen, property owner who painted over downtown mural donates $50,000 to GoFundMe for recreation. Just a second here. Okay, here it is. Oh, too far. after a beloved mural by E. Smith inspired mural was painted over by downtown Springfield. The arts inventory began to take steps to recreate the artwork. A GoFundMe titled "Recreate Downtown Springfield's Robert E. Smith Mural" went live during the morning of March 6th, aiming to raise $15,000 to so far. The biggest donor to the fund is the man responsible for the mural's cover-up, David Purrier, I guess, who recently purchased the downtown property that donned the mural for 26 years and painted over the artwork last weekend, has donated $50,000 to the GoFundMe. The goal of the fund's organizers is to commission a recreation of the mural on a different downtown building. That's the newsletter stuff. 1 second here. Okay, here we go. Hang on. Okay, I think let's take Prince Real Estate Company I purchased the building located at 400 West Walnut Street in October 2025 for about less than $50,000. PRE said in an interview on March 4th. PRE's veteran-based businesses from the military to military will move into downtown property around May. The company purchased the building with plans to put a new mural, but that would be reflective of MTM's mission, and it will be patriotic themed. Cole Bryant, a realtor at Maroney Associates and co-owner of multiple downtown businesses, has led initiative to gather funds to remake the mural, along with I'm not sure what business that is, owner another building. The two are responsible for launching the GoFundMe as well as a fund at the Community Foundation of the Ozarks. In order for the funds to be diverted from the FOs, there must be an arts nonprofit that takes the helm of the donation movement, known as fiscal sponsor, Brown said. This is due to the necessary raising public funds for projects. Okay. On we go then.
This is in the Springfield News-Leader. Springfield's Top Pet 2026 contest supports local families by Janice Reeser of Springfield News-Leader. Springfield's Top Pet 2026 contest is underway, giving pet owners a chance to show off their furry or feathered friends while supporting local families. The Community Partnership of the Ozarks, CPO, has opened registration for the fundraising competition. The event invites pet owners across southwest Missouri to participate, according to a community announcement. Participants can register their pets, share their fundraising pages, and gather votes from friends, family, and coworkers. Each dollar vote directly supports CPO programs that address homelessness prevention, early childhood support, workforce stability, and community well-being. Winning pet to be featured on calendar cover. The pet that raises the most votes will earn the title of Springfield's Top Pet 2026 and be featured on the cover of the upcoming Top Pet calendar. The top 12 fundraising pets will be highlighted throughout the calendar, according to the announcement. This fundraiser is fun, lighthearted, and incredibly community-driven. Melody Shuck, Vice President of Communications at CPO, said the announcement. People come together around something they love, their pets, and in doing so, they help neighbors access housing support, child care resources, and family services that make our community stronger. The contest also provides local businesses, workplaces, schools, and community groups an easy way to engage in philanthropy through friendly team competition and social sharing, according to the announcement. How to participate. Register a pet now through March 15th at tinyurl.com/4F7JWTV4. Share your pet's profile and encourage votes. Each vote equals a $1 donation supporting CPO programs. Compete for prizes, recognition, and calendar features. Voting is open through March 31st, with the winners announced April 1st. For more information, visit tinyurl.com/JFCBB2WP.
From the Springfield News-Leader, nonprofit Care to Learn to quadruple space with new Springfield HQ. Care to Learn purchased the nearby 20,000 square foot facility at 1730 East Portland Street. Renovations are scheduled to begin in the summer, and building is expected to be completed in spring 2027. Care to Learn officials found the unicorn they were hunting. After 3 years of strategic planning, envisioning and hunting, the nonprofit on Thursday announced that it had found a perfect home for its headquarters. It has purchased an almost 20,000 square foot building located near Glenstone Avenue at 1730 East Portland Street. Real estate in the area is hard to come by, said Crystal Simon, I believe, CEO of Care to Learn, in an interview with the Daily Citizen. Knowing that we need some office space, some storage space, volunteer space, and a whole lot of parking, I had said that we needed a unicorn, which we found. That property in May was truly everything that we wished for. In addition to the purchase, the nonprofit also launched a fundraising campaign to help raise money needed to finish the project. Current location cramped. In 2028, Care to Learn offers food, personal hygiene items, clothes, school supplies, and more to students in order to bolster academic success. It is one of the major sponsors and donors of Springfield Public Schools annual Back to School Bash, and is often called upon to handle emergency needs. In 2024, the organization was named the winner of the Daily Citizen's Catalyst for Good Award. It was founded by Doug Pruitt, who in January was named the 2026 Springfieldian by the Springfield Chamber of Commerce. The nonprofit currently leases a 50,000 square foot building at 1049 South. Where did it go? Glenstone Avenue. The new building will quadruple its space, allowing Care to Learn to maximize both deliveries and in-kind donations, as well as triple the number of volunteers opportunities. Looks like it. Okay. Crystal Simmons talking about Care to Learn programs effort with Springfield Public Schools. There was the photo there. I think that's the whole article. I think.
This is in the Springfield Daily Citizen. Mom and nonprofit founder share concerns about Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. Krista Dahl is among those concerned about potential legislation, the Born Alive Survivors Protection Act, which passed in the Missouri House of Representatives earlier this year by Jackie Rewald. And there's a picture of a mom and young boy and young girl and the father holding their baby. Krista and Kevin Dahl's daughter, Charlie, did not develop kidneys in utero and lived for 30 minutes. The Dahls are thankful their doctor allowed them to have this time with their baby, rather than taking the baby away to perform aggressive resuscitation when the baby's condition was not survivable. The photo by On Angel's Wings founder, Michelle Kramer. When Krista and Kevin Dahl learned they were expecting another child in 2020, they were thrilled and anxious. The couple, who lived in Nixa at the time, had a healthy boy and girl already, but recently experienced a miscarriage. Krista Dahl said she couldn't help but worry it might happen again. I loved being pregnant. I loved being a mom. I was like, I just feel this chapter of my life is ending on such a heartbreaking, sad note after this miscarriage, and I just felt incomplete, Dahl said. So whenever we found out that we were pregnant again, I was ecstatic. But at the 20-week anatomy scan, the Dahls were told the baby had bilateral renal agenesis, a condition that was not compatible with life outside the womb. The fetus did not develop kidneys. The fetus could not cycle amniotic fluid properly, which prevented her lungs from developing. A second opinion confirmed the devastating diagnosis. Dahl recalled the difficult conversations with her obstetrician. If she carried the baby to term, the baby would most likely be stillborn. Would it be better to induce early and at least have a few minutes with their baby while she is alive? In Missouri, would that be considered a late-term abortion? The doctor was very kind. I did not feel like I was being pushed or persuaded or discouraged from whatever choice we made, she said. But he did tell us, even back in 2020, with the laws that are already on the books, he was just saying, you are considered at viability now. So if we did an induction that this would terminate your pregnancy, this would be a late-term abortion. Because of that, he explained that he would have to talk to a hospital administration to get approval to induce her. If they said no, the dolls might have to travel to another state. And while Doll naturally gave birth early and was able to spend 30 minutes with her baby alive, she fears new legislation making its way through the Missouri State House, the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, could take options away from other parents like her. Raised in the church. As someone who was raised in the church and had always been politically conservative and a staunch pro-lifer, Doll said, the conversations she was having and decisions she and her husband faced were overwhelming. I went from planning for a third baby to all of this in just a matter of weeks. My mind was reeling, she said. I felt like they were telling me, oh, you have to tell us how bad you want to kill your baby. And I was like, I don't want that. I want her. I want to see her. I want to be with her. The experience has caused Doll to rethink her views about abortion. It has granted me a completely different perspective and a level of empathy for people having to make those decisions, she said. She recalled being pregnant, driving around Springfield, and seeing anti-abortion billboards. You see these billboards with these adorable little cherub faces of these sweet little babies, and it's like, how could you lose me? And abortion is murder, she said. I felt like I was constantly being beat over the head by what a horrible person I was to have ever even considered an abortion, even though it was to see my baby, not dispose of her. As it turned out, Doll naturally went into labor at 36 weeks. Charlie Ann Doll was born and died on May 15th, 2020. Charlie lived a beautiful 30 minutes surrounded by love, peace, and family, Doll wrote in an email to the Springfield Daily Citizen. The next choice we had to make was for emergency intervention at birth or palliative care. We chose palliative care, she wrote. Therefore, instead of having our tiny daughter whisked away from us immediately when she was born and placed on multiple different supports and monitoring devices, we were able to hold her, bathe her, kiss her, get photographs, and let her be held by her siblings and grandparents. Charlie knew only the quiet love and peace of her family, Doll continued in that email. If it would have been possible to save her life, I would have done it. The only thing those emergency measures would have done would have prolonged her death. Doll emailed and then later spoke with the Daily Citizen because she is among those concerned about potential legislation, the Born Alive Survivors Protection Act, which passed in the House of Representatives earlier this year in Missouri. The bill has moved to the Senate for consideration. About the legislation, according to reporting by the Missouri Independent, the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act was the first bill to clear the Missouri House this year. The bill opens the door for healthcare providers to face the death penalty if they don't provide life-saving care to a baby born after an attempted abortion. The legislation would also allow lawsuits against anyone assisting with illegal medication abortions. The bill would require any healthcare providers present at the time of an unsuccessful abortion to exercise the same degree of professional skill, care, and diligence to preserve the life and health of the child, and require the child be immediately transported and admitted to a hospital. A baby that makes it out of an abortive attempt gets every life-saving measure given to a child born at the same gestational period to a mother that wanted that baby, State Representative Holly Jones, a Eureka Republican, told her colleagues earlier this year. Intent means nothing when the child is outside the womb. The Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, sponsored by Jones and GOP State Representative Brian Seitz of Branson, has been framed by Republicans as a common-sense safeguard that must be considered with urgency following the legalization of abortion by Missouri voters in 2024. Critics have raised concerns about how such a bill could affect families who choose to induce early labor following a fatal fetal diagnosis. a procedure which falls under the definition of abortion in the medical field and the providers caring for them. Mom hopes lawmakers add provisions. Looking back on her family's experience with baby Charlie Ann, Dahl worries how the legislation, if passed as it is currently written, would affect women and families in similar difficult situations. Even before the Born Alive bill, our OB did tell us that an induction could possibly need higher approval as it would be considered a late-term abortion. Dahl, who now lives in West Plains, hopes lawmakers will consider adding clear provisions that address pregnancies involving terminal fetal diagnoses that are not compatible with sustained life, and to include clear language protecting the palliative care they were allowed during the precious 30 minutes Charlie lived. There's a picture of Krista and Kevin Dahl's daughter Charlie with wings and a halo. She did not develop kidneys in utero, and she lived for 30 minutes. The Dahls are thankful to their doctor allowed them to have this time with their baby rather than taking the baby away to perform aggressive resuscitation when the baby's condition was not survivable. Photo by On Angel's Wings founder Michelle Kramer. Those were the only moments that we were able to have together, she said, and my doctor was already concerned about perhaps inducing labor, as it would be an abortion in our case. I would be concerned with this Born Alive Survivors Protection Act, since it's redundant and more aggressive to what is already on the books, that families will lose that palliative care time, Dahl continued, because she did breathe, which we didn't even think she would be able to do that. We got to hear her cry, which we didn't think we would be able to do. It was one tiny little cry, and then everybody left the room so we could be with her and not have to be forced into an emergent situation with lots of violent life-saving measures. Dahl said it's important for people, especially lawmakers, to have compassion for families facing these difficult decisions. We're so quick to villainize and judge and put such a slant on things and forget the fact that these are real people with real pain, she said. These are families that have real hopes and real dreams and are just scared and hurting and need support instead of condemnation. On Angel's Wings founder also concerned. On Angel's Wings is a Missouri-based nonprofit that supports families facing terminal perinatal diagnoses, medically complex pregnancies, and infant loss. Springfield photographer Michelle Kramer founded the organization in 2013. Among the many services On Angel's Wings provides, Kramer and her team of volunteer photographers all over the state provide free photography at the hospital to families whose babies will not survive. It's a picture of Michelle Kramer, who's the founder of On Angel's Wings. She's got glasses on and a pink shirt and a floral jacket. Kramer was with the Dahls when Charlie was born and died at Mercy Hospital in 2020. She recently sent letters to both House members and senators requesting the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act include clear language to protect medically indicated early delivery and physician-directed palliative care in cases of documented terminal fetal diagnoses. Her letter stated in part, "While we understand the bill's stated intent, we are concerned that it does not appear to include clear provisions addressing pregnancies involving terminal fetal diagnoses that are not compatible with sustained life. In cases involving conditions such as trisomy 13, trisomy 18, limb body wall syndrome, anencephaly, and other lethal anomalies, families are often advised that caring to full term significantly increases the likelihood of stillbirth. Many parents, after extensive consultation with maternal fetal medicine specialists, elect medically indicated early induction, typically between 30 and 35 weeks, in order to increase the chance of meeting the child alive before natural death occurs. These are not situations involving elective termination for convenience or contraception. Late-term procedures in real-world medical practice are overwhelmingly involve severe fetal anomalies or grave medical circumstances. The families we serve desperately want their children. Their decisions are rooted in love, compassion, and a desire to prevent suffering, not avoidance of parenthood. However, because these medically indicated early inductions may fall within terminology commonly associated with late-term abortion, The absence of explicit clarification in the bill may create legal ambiguity. Physicians may reasonably fear criminal liability or uncertainty regarding whether comfort-focused palliative care without aggressive resuscitation will be protected when a condition is universally recognized as non-survivable. The result could be unintended harm. Doctors declining medically appropriate care, families denied the opportunity to meet their child alive, or mandatory life-saving interventions attempted despite no possibility of survival, adding trauma without changing the outcome. Families facing these diagnoses are already living through profound heartbreak. Missouri law could provide clarity that allows physicians to practice within accepted medical standards and families to make compassionate, medically informed decisions without fear of criminal consequences. Saying hello and goodbye in the same moment. In an interview with the Daily Citizen, Kramer explained how her organization often serves pregnant families who've been told the longer they carry the baby, the less likely they are to have any time with the baby while it's alive. Inducing labor early, now labeled a late-term abortion, at least gives them a chance to meet their baby alive and have a little time, Kramer said. And we come in during those deliveries and do pictures so that they have pictures with their baby actually alive, she said. There's a big difference between delivering a baby that's living and getting those few moments, or that baby already is passed in the womb and you get no time. You're saying hello and goodbye in the same moment, she said. They are so grief-stricken and devastated. The Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, as it's currently written, does not make exceptions for those scenarios, Kramer said. Kramer echoed Dahl's concerns about palliative care being protected for babies born with a condition that is not survivable. The stipulation in the bill, if an abortion is attempted and the baby is born alive, then life-saving measures must be taken by the medical staff, Kramer said. So if they elect to induce early so that they can meet their baby alive, but there's no chance that the baby is going to survive, and their parents have chosen a palliative approach, are doctors now going to feel like they're forced to try and save that baby regardless? Kramer said she's received one personal response from a Missouri lawmaker regarding her concerns over the bill.
Not sure how much time is left. I thought, not sure how much time we have left, but
6 minutes.
oh, okay. I'll try to read some of it then. Springfield's, I think, Lumi Candle Bar, I think it's how it's called, to shut down after lease renewal denial. Lumi will close its downtown storefront permanently after the end of April, the company announced in a Facebook post. Lumi Candle Bar will close its downtown Springfield store permanently after the end of April. The candle company was denied a lease renewal for its downtown store located at 400 West Walnut Street. Lumi owner Katie Fruthoff, something like that, said in a March 3rd Facebook post, the building the business occupies was purchased in October 2025, and Lumi was denied the option to renew the lease. When our building was purchased, we anticipated possible changes at the lease renewal, Rutherford said in the Facebook post. What we did not expect was that we would not be given the option to renew while we provided the proper 90-day notice. It came as a surprise and caused us to realize all of our options and future plans. With heavy hearts, we have made the decision to permanently close our Springfield location at the end of April. The newsletter again. Hang on. Okay, hang on here. Lumi lets clients create their own candles with custom labels and lids, and sells pre-made candles, as well as other goods. Rutherford purchased the place in 2024 and rebranded the company to Lumi, H-E-I-R-L-O-O-M was the other place, opened downtown in 2023 after getting a start in the Roundtree neighborhood. The property that houses Lumi was enrolled in controversy this week as the property owner painted over the renowned Robert E. Smith inspired mural at the southwest corner of Walnut Street and Campbell Avenue. Lumi stated earlier which we could plays no part in the commission to paint over the mural. Okay. Property owner paint. Oh, okay, that's the same thing we just looked at. I think you could go look at that other link. It's the second place. Let's see if I can get. Oh, I think it's. Oh, just talking about it again. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. The property owner painted over the Robert E. Smith mural, sparking controversy, pushback. But the city stated and the property owner acted within his rights as the building was not listed on the local historical register. The arts person is trying to recreate the mural. Okay. I guess that's the end of it. I think it's most of the article anyway, they believe. That's the main part of it, so.
Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader